Are you looking for a program, start a business, grow an existing one, or manage your personal finances? Your search stops right here. Join Mukonke Mukonkela from Inside Partners Africa every Tuesdays at 0720 hours on the Dalama Insights Business Show, a program that gives you the best and most practical, actionable insights.
It is good morning and welcome to another episode of Ndalama Insights. I'm Leslie Sinyangwe. Of course, today we have a very insightful topic. We're looking at how to analyze stocks effectively as an investor, and we'll be focusing on understanding key stock market terms as well as concepts using the March 28th Daily Summit report from the Lusaka Security Exchange as a reference point. Joining me in the studio, as per usual, Mukonke Mukonkela from Insight Partners. It is a good morning, Mukonke. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Leslie. How have you been?
Very well, thank you. And how are you?
Good, thanks. And good morning, dear listeners.
Great. In our quest to make Zambia wealthy, we are looking at how you can become wealthy and looking at different ways of investments, or rather different investments that can create wealth. And today we're looking at stocks and how to analyze stocks effectively as an investor. Now, okay, let's dive right in. If our listeners take a look at the March 28th report, they will see terms like instrument, there is bid quantity, bid price, ask quantity, last trade price, and closing price listed. Could you please explain what some of these key terms mean using examples, from the stock entry?
Thanks, Leslie. This is quite a lot, right?
Very much, actually.
In our quest to make Zambians wealthy, I like that. We are going to be wealthy, hopefully. At least we'll get 50% by the end of the year. So these terms, you can actually find them on the trade summary report, which is a daily report that is published by the LUCE. It's a very important report, particularly for investors who are just beginning to understand the stock market. And therefore, that's where we're going to start in terms of how you analyze stocks. We're going to refer to this report. And I would like to use an hypothetical scenario, Leslie, to illustrate what these terms mean. So I'm going to introduce you to 4 buyers who are interested in a share that is listed on the LUCE. And this share that I've picked is the CECZ. And the 4 buyers by name are Mwaka, Chongo, Lunda, and Mukwaya. And these have got different amounts of shares they want to buy and at different prices. And then we have on the seller side, we also got 4 sellers that want to sell shares in the same instrument, which is CECZ. So we've got shareholders, current shareholders that want to sell their shares, and they've also got quantities that they want to share at particular prices. So this is the scenario that I would like us to use to explain some of these terms that are very essential for you to understand.
Okay, so we have 4 hypothetical buyers as well as 4 sellers who are interested in trading the CECZ stock.
Yeah.
What do their orders tell us about bid and ask prices or quantities?
Thank you, Leslie. So first of all, to start with, when you see the CECZ, that is an abbreviation for what is referred to as an instrument on the report. The report has a column with a number of terms, one of which is instrument. Under that column for instrument, you find, abbreviated company names. So these abbreviated company names are the companies that are selling their shares on the LUCE. So CECZ simply stands for Copperbelt Energy. Okay, Corporation Zambia. So that's what it stands for. So take note of that even as you start. And then let's go and look at what the definition of bid quantity is, because that's the next term you'll find on this report. So the bid quantity is simply the total addition, all the shares that potential buyers want in Copperbelt Energy. If we add up the quantities of all these shares that these buyers want to buy in Copperbelt Energy, that is what will give us the bid quantity. So even if there are 20 potential buyers, if we add up all the shares that they want to buy, that is what we'll refer to as the bid quantity. So the bid quantity actually determines the demand side, okay, in the market. And then the bid price shows the highest price that is being offered amongst all the prospective buyers. So I gave an example of prospective buyers in CEC, which is a fictitious example. So there's Mwaka who wants to buy at 7.65 per share. There's Chongo who wants to buy at 7.60 per share. There's Lunda who wants to buy at 7.55 per share, and then we have Makua who wants to buy at 7.5 per share. So the bid price here is the highest price that the prospective buyer is offering. If you look at all these prices, you find that Mwaka has the highest price that she's offering, which is 7.65. This is the price that we are going to see on the report, on the daily summary report. So even if there are 1,000 buyers that wanted to buy shares on this particular day, we're going to pick the highest bid price. That's the one that is going to be disclosed on that report. And then if we look at the ask quantity, the ask quantity looks at the supply side on the market. So who wants to sell shares? The current shareholders that want to sell shares in a particular instrument. So if we go back to our example for Copper Belt Energy, we've got 4 sellers. That's the example that we gave. And if we add up all the shares that they want to sell, the Chilufya wants to sell 600, Musonda wants to sell 400 shares, Kawana wants to sell 700 shares, and Chita wants to sell 500 shares. If you add up all these shares that they want to sell, it's adding up to 2,200. So that is the ask quantity. It's simply the total number of shares that current shareholders in a particular instrument would like to sell. And then the ask price is the lowest price on offer, because as a seller, you'd want to take a price that is the lowest or something higher than what is being on offer. So that is the ask price. So if you look at the prices that are on offer from this example, the lowest price that's on offer is coming from Chilufya, who's selling at 7.75, because the others have got higher prices than 7.75. So 7.75 becomes the ask price on this particular day. And these are just for sellers. There could be 1,000 people that want to sell. The same principle applies, Leslie. So this is the definition of bid quantity, bid price, ask quantity, and ask price.
Oh, so that's what it means on that report. So the bid and ask represent the best pricing for prospective buyers and sellers at any given time. What about the last trade price then?
Thank you, Leslie. So the last trade price is simply the price that's been agreed between a buyer and a seller at a particular moment. You see, the stock market is a market that is constantly receiving buyers and sellers. So whenever you see last trade price, it's the price the last deal or transaction was agreed between a buyer and a seller. So that is what the last trade price simply means. Yeah.
That makes a bit of sense. But the last trade price essentially represents the current market value, so based on real investor supply and demand forces. This is why buyers and sellers closely monitor this metric.
Yeah. So the last trade price actually indicates to you how a stock is compared to previous days. And when you see the last trade price, which, as I've said, is the last price between a seller and a buyer that they've agreed to sell or to settle the deal, to sell the share in a particular instrument. If you see that the next few days, this last trade price is going up, it actually indicates that there's demand for a particular instrument. People want to buy this stock. That's when you see the last trade price going up. Where you see it's not really, it's coming down, or we have a lot of sellers wanting to sell, the last trade price normally starts coming down because the sellers want to offload that investment in that particular company. So I think what's important for you to understand as a beginner is that the last trade price is simply the last deal that was agreed for this particular company or instrument on that particular day. That's what the last trade price is.
Now, to understand today's show very, very clearly,
yes.
I think it would be good to go and download the trade summary report on the main market, the Lusaka Securities Exchange. Then visit Mukonke on YouTube and listen to the show. Follow it so that you have the document in your hand.
That's true.
Then it will make it quite easier for you to follow. But for today, we'll try our best to get you to understand it a little bit.
Yeah.
But from the report now, I noticed there's also the closing price, which is listed for each stock, like CECZ. What is the significance of this number compared to the last trade price?
Thank you, Leslie. So as you've said, for us to start understanding the stock market, we definitely have to define these terms. And even though it's radio, you can still follow closely, but definitely download the daily summary report from the LUCE to follow through. And there's a recording of this program. You can always watch it on YouTube. Just search for Mukonki.Mukonkela. So the closing price, Leslie, the closing price is simply the price on a particular stock, okay, at a close before the market closes. Now, it sounds quite technical, right? So it's simply the last price for a particular share before the market closes. This closing price is determined by different factors on the market, and there are factors that we're also going to look at. And it's the price that determines whether you've made a profit or not. So the closing price is the last price before the market closes on a particular share, which is determined by a lot of factors, including the demand for a particular share in an instrument. So that is what the closing price is. And it's important to understand that the last trade price and the closing price are very different. The closing price allows you to be able to compute your profit on a particular instrument. That is what the closing price is.
Now, what kind of analysis would an investor use the closing price for?
So analysis like your gain or loss on a particular share. So let me give an example. Leslie, if you had bought a share or shares in Copperbelt Energy a few weeks ago, and you bought them at 7.5 kwacha, and then on the 28th of March, the closing price for Copperbelt Energy, by the way, what was the closing price? If we look at the report, okay, let's just assume the closing price was 7.85. Then you would calculate your gain as the difference between the price you bought that share at minus the closing price for that particular share. The difference would give you 0.35. So that is a gain, because when you bought the share, you bought it at 7.5. Okay, and now as at 28th March, this share is selling at 7.85, which is a gain. So the difference will show you whether your share is gaining or losing. So that is the most important use of this closing price. So it's a very important metric that a lot of shareholders keep a good eye on. It indicates to you whether your share is gaining value or not. Yes.
Quite a lot going on.
I like it when you say that. You see, many people think that investing, it doesn't work in the park. Yes, it is, but you have to get to understand certain terms, and sometimes they sound really hard, but there's always a basic starting point, and I hope we can establish this, and people can go and download this daily trade report and start looking at these terms, and that's the only way you start understanding. You see, you don't want to be a blind investor. Yeah,
that's the last thing. And the idea is, if you are going to be investing, and you decide you want to get into investing, then I think you sort of need to you need to take interest in learning about stocks and how you analyze stocks and so on and so forth, because it is part of the whole process, isn't it?
Yes, Leslie. In fact, if the most important thing you can do for yourself, if you want to start investing, whether it's in stocks or bonds, is to gain the knowledge first before you even buy any share. You buy a bond, understand. This knowledge is very important, and it sounds technical, but with time you start picking out the essence. You start understanding what these things actually mean, and it becomes much simpler. Yeah, and we are going to help you. This is what this program is for.
Definitely. Now, we've so far we've provided a bit of clarity on stock pricing terminology like bid ask, the last trade price, as well as the closing price, using examples from the CD, the CZ listing. And I think we only have time to focus on one more thing for now. But we will, continue with this topic next week. And what we'll advise is, if you are interested, this is one of those shows that you listen to when you're really interested. So if you are interested, please make sure you download the Lusaka Securities Exchange Trade Summary Report for the main market, and then have it in your hands, so that the next time we're having the show next week, as we're finishing up, you have it in your hands, or you can even check out on YouTube as well, Conference channel. And get some of these explanations as well, because they are fundamental that you actually understand a bit of this if you're going to get into investing on the stock market. Now, we're evaluating beyond just share prices.
Yeah.
We're analyzing, the stock's potential.
Yeah.
But could you elaborate on that? Like, what else do you evaluate?
Thanks, Leslie. I like the point you've just made. Yes, you've said these are fundamental concepts that you need to understand if you want to be an investor. And it's not for everybody. It's for people that are really interested, especially in investing in shares. So other than, the terms that you'll find on this daily summary report that we see on the LUCE, you also need to do some qualitative analysis. So this is nothing to do with the numbers, but just looking at the entire performance of the company, its management team. What is it comprised of? Do we have a strong management team that is visionary? And this you can see from the decisions that they are making. What are they in the news for? So, like recently, I mean, I like Copper Belt Energy for the fact that recently they were in the news because they are the first company to have a green bond, right? And somebody asked me, what's a green bond? It's simply a bond that allows the company to invest in areas that are green. So, like for Copper Belt Energy, the industry is power or electricity. So, investing in investments that are green or that are environmentally friendly. So, probably I don't know what investments Copper Belt Energy is planning to make, but they should definitely be environmentally friendly. So, what are they in the news for? This company, are they even in the news? Are they active? So these are some of the other factors you need to be looking out for as you want to buy an investment in a share. So I would like to conclude with this. And as you've said, this is a long topic. We'll continue next week. There are quite a few other terms that we need to look at. The net change, the total turnover, average prices. We've got foreign buyers. What are these? What does it mean? So we'll continue with this next week.
Definitely. Well, Mukonki, thank you very much for making time for us this week.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Have a good morning.
All right, this has been the Dalama Insights radio show, and today it has been very technical. But if you are into investing and you want to basically grow your money, you do have to listen in and be very attentive, and just download this report so that we can talk more about it next week. This has been the Dalama Insights radio show.
You have been listening